Hey everyone, Insanity here. I have not been uploading much lately, and I have been mostly waiting on updates for Angel's Twisted Metal 5 fan game, as well as No Reference Exceptions Twisted Metal 4 Remastered DLC for Smash and Crash. But I finally got a game that kept me occupied for a while. This is Death Metal Derby. This was created by TurtleDuck Studio. I'll refer to him as TurtleDuck for short. And this is basically his take on Twisted Metal. So it's not a full-on like remake or lift of the various Twisted Metal characters and levels and everything. This is created from scratch. And while there are obvious references and stand-ins for the various Twisted Metal characters and levels, this is pretty much Twisted Metal under a different name, the same way that Crom's Car Combat is Twisted Metal under a different name. So this was created as a passion project of TurtleDuck. He worked on this for 3 years, and there's been quite a bit of criticism leveled at this game for various different reasons. The first and obvious one is the price tag for this game, which is $30, and this makes it less accessible for most people, since $30 is half the price of most retail games, and this is an indie game, so that makes it a little bit hard to swallow, and most people are probably not going to get this game, especially more so once they see AI was used in the creation of this game, and AI is pretty much a dirty word for most people. But this was created by TurtleDuck as a one-man army creator. So of course he got a bit of help in things like character design or vehicle design, but this was all created by him, and he is working on trying to phase out some of the AI elements of this game. But I will not diminish his efforts. 3 years is definitely a long time to work on a game for something that Sony is not interested in creating. So yeah, Death Metal Derby. This is your Twisted Metal game under a different name, as I mentioned before, and this guy is pretty much the Calypso stand-in. I'm at the how to play section of the game, so let me just bum rush through there. So you have your controls. TurtleDuck is going to add customizable controls later on, which will definitely be very helpful. And then this section is controls still, but this also mentions the abilities, which I'll get to in a moment. One thing that TurtleDuck added to this game that is not in the main Twisted Metal games is a weapon wheel, which was pretty nice. I'm not sure if I would like a weapon wheel in the main Twisted Metal games, but it's certainly a nice thing to have. I think only Twisted Metal 1 and Twisted Metal 2 on a PC, that is, have ways of having you select a different weapon without you needing to scroll down through a list or scroll up through a list. But if they ever decide to have weapon wheel in the main Twisted Metal games, if they ever make a new one, that would be pretty cool. Alright, so you have your weapons and your analogs to the main game's weapon selection. So special, obviously special. Simple Sally is your fire missile. Pyro Peggy is your power missile with some slight homing abilities, leaning closer to a maybe like a uncharged Stalker or a partially charged Stalker missile from Twisted Metal 2012. Then you have Lock On Lucy, which is your homing missile. Your Multi-Molly, which is a swarm missile. The Pushy Patty has no equivalent in the main games, but this is probably something like if you have Axel Shockwave as a weapon pickup, but obviously greatly nerfed to be a conventional weapon rather than a special one. The Bloomin' Betty is not exactly a remote bomb, but it does serve a similar role in where you lay it down as a trap. And then Jumpin' Jill is a ricochet bomb, and Health is obviously health. though you can't really rely on it too much because TurtleDuck did a little twist on the usual combat formula, and that is weapon pickups and pickups in general are RNG. There are no set locations for any pickup. So health is very hard to come by. The only guaranteed health you can find is when you destroy an enemy vehicle. But otherwise, you'll probably be scrambling for health when you're very low, and you'll likely find that it's very hard to come across any kind of health. Then you have Turbo, which obviously refills your turbo gauge, and it's a full refill like in the Twisted Metal games, starting with Twisted Metal Black. Then you have your abilities page here, which these are the equivalent to the energy moves in the main Twisted Metal games, but there's no energy bar, so the abilities instead operate on a cooldown. Some of them will cool down faster than the others. The rear fire, I think this was probably done so that you can't do rear fire spam or jump spam. But otherwise, they pretty much act very similar to the main game's energy moves. Except for the slime. The slime is the equivalent of a freeze, except it's more like if you were to have the oil slicks from Twisted Metal 1 as a projectile, where it'll slow down the enemy, but they can still fight back. And so the slime is very helpful, but you can't use it the same way you would a freeze. Alright, and then you also have your machine gun upgrade pickup. And of course the menu, the UI and the various different explanations for the UI elements on screen. So yeah, Twisted Metal, it's just called Death Metal Derby. And this is TurtleDuck Studio. Again, I'll refer to him as TurtleDuck, and he's the one who created this game. So if you ever get this game, then do provide all sorts of helpful feedback to him. He is definitely listening to all the criticism that he's been getting, and he will definitely reduce the price of this game so that it is a little more accessible to the public. So a good chunk of my time in this game has been trying to find all the cheat codes and characters and level unlocks. Oh, let me leave out the Hall of Heroes. So TurtleDuck was kind enough to provide me hints for various unlockables, but I did do my best to try and figure out a good chunk of them on my own. Let me go to options here. So right now there are options for difficulty. There are 7 difficulties. There's super easy, very easy, easy, normal, hard, very hard, and Death Wish. I haven't asked TurtleDuck for an elaboration on the difficulties besides, at least for the unlock purposes. But he did clarify that the difficulty will affect how the AI behaves and how much damage she'll do to you. So right now though, one big issue I have, which TurtleDuck will be addressing, is that enemies feel very damage spongy. So even on super easy, so it'll take a long time to kill them. So the main reason why you will play on easier difficulty is just being able to go through the campaign and unlock the levels as soon as possible, as you'll need to do so in order to get all the unlockables in the game. Alright, so I set the difficulty to super easy. Oh, Deathmatch, okay. You have the option to play split screen, whether in Deathmatch or campaign, which is pretty cool. I don't think the main Twisted Metal games have offered anything above a 2-player co-op. I don't know when if online co-op will come in to this game, but it's something to consider, I guess, for a future update. Anyway, so like I said, I spent most of my time in this game trying to unlock everyone. You start with these first top this top row of 4 characters, and then the next 4 rows require you to unlock them. The next 2 rows are characters that you have to unlock by finding prize boxes, and then the last 2 rows of 8 characters are characters that you unlock via cheat codes. So these characters don't have any comic book intros or endings, so these are only selectable in Deathmatch. So these top 12 characters can be played in both campaign and Deathmatch, but these last 8 cannot be played in campaign, at least until TurtleDuck decides to create comic book intros and endings for these characters. And I know for a fact that they definitely, given the character bios, they definitely are asking for campaign stories. So let me just go ahead and select the characters, and you can select whatever enemy you want and however many enemies you want. So if you want to face all 20, be your guest. And just like in the character select screen, there are 4 default levels, and that's the top row over here. The next 4 rows of levels require you to play through the campaign several times to unlock them, and they don't require any codes. Now, there are some levels that require you to access them via code, but you cannot select them manually in this list otherwise. So they always require you to enter the codes every time if you want to play those. But let me just go back to the menu and go into campaign. So as you can see here, there are only 12 characters that you can play as for a campaign. The character that I played the most is Stormchaser. Stormchaser has a special that is like Twisters, but you have a small startup before the tornado actually goes off. So let me just go ahead and go play the campaign with Stormchaser. So you'll be greeted by a character intro here.
Stormchaser.
Which will be every character intro and ending is done in a comic book format.
I used to be the best river girl of the Tri-County area, Jenna Thomas. Until terrible accident. It left me horribly disfigured. I lost my job, my man, and my mind. When I win this contest, I will get it all back, and I can't wait to kill anyone who gets in my way.
Yep, so the campaign is in a 5-level format. So the first level is a 1v1. So this kind of emulates Twisted Metal 1, where the very first level of that game was a arena level. Let me see if we can throw him out with special. Nope. Yeah, so right now, as I mentioned before, a big problem I have with... Oh. Okay, I guess that actually will still help. So there's no live system. If you die, then you can restart the level as many times as needed until you pass.
Deck of death.
Which is helpful, but of course it also means that you have to pretty much go through the game deathless. Alright. Oh. It would be nice if I could throw him out of the level. But yeah, one problem that I mentioned before is that enemies just have too much health. So TurtleDuck is going to adjust that, and if you play on an easier difficulty, then you'll have a damage modifier that will let you do more damage to the enemy while they do less damage to you. So that'll at least help make playing on easier difficulties much more bearable. And if you're especially going for the unlocks, then it's definitely in your best interest to be able to complete the game as quickly as possible. The enemy I'm facing here is Mime, and he has one of the lower armors of the game, so he should be very quick to kill, although it's certainly hard to figure that since it still took a while for me to kill him.
Welcome to Frostbite.
So, like I said, the first level is a 1v1 in a small arena type level. And TurtleDuck did a small twist on the overall formula of the campaign or story mode, where the levels are completely randomized. The only set part is that the first level is the 1v1, and then the fifth and final level is a boss fight. But the next 3 levels are all completely random and have more enemies. So basically, it's also randomized by the run that you played through in campaign. So by that I mean, like, if you play it for the 11th or 12th or 21st time, then that particular set of levels that you're going to go through is going to be different. So every campaign run is never going to be the same. I mean, it's already going to be different by virtue of you having to play as a different character, unless you decide to stick with the same character. But otherwise, you never have a set level to... You don't have a set group of 5 levels that you play through. So... Wait, did I get my special? No, I didn't use my special. Okay, no, never mind. Alright, so like I mentioned before, the difficulty will affect the frequency at which the AI engage you in combat. One good thing about this game is that the AI do fight each other, so it properly feels like the Battle Royale premise of Twisted Metal is actually a thing in this game, as opposed to in the main games where only Twisted Metal 3 and Twisted Metal 4 are the ones that have the AI fight each other. This is very helpful on the higher difficulties, where it's very hard to engage most of the time, given how damage spongy and the enemies are and how aggressive they are on the higher difficulties. So definitely helpful to have the enemies fight each other, and then you go pick off all these stragglers. So okay. Oh. Stormchaser's Twister special works in a way where if you grab multiple enemies, it actually does more damage. So it's actually to your benefit to try and find a crowd to hit them with the special to do more damage. The character I'm engaging right now is called Warpig, and he's kind of like Warthog from Twisted Metal 4. His special has him put down a laser thing, and then he puts on a red laser, which eventually has a satellite launch this blue beam where the laser is, and it's going to do a lot of damage to an enemy if they ever decide to stick inside the whole beam the whole time. Where are you? Fortunately, as this is super easy difficulty, I won't really need to use shields all that much. Stay here. Level 3.
Welcome to Battle Bowl.
Battle Bowl. I definitely appreciate TurtleDuck having a lot of content for the base game in terms of being able to select a bunch of levels and characters in the game. So for your levels, there are 20 levels that you can access normally, and then there's 5 that you can access via cheat codes. And then for characters, there are 20. And of course, TurtleDuck is going to consider adding more stuff to the game later, as well as incorporate all the feedback. And then he's also going to add more bosses and more stories. But it's going to take a while. He's mostly a one-man team for this game, so... Oh, right. I need to change the camera view. So I have at least one favorite level. I don't know if it's going to show up in this run, but it's the Rooftop level. Though it's definitely not the only level where you can die via falling out of the map. There's actually quite a few levels that have out of bounds that are an instant death. But if that level shows up, that'll be great. Stay here. Got her up? Oh, darn it, I was pushed away. There goes my special. No more turbo. Yep, so as I mentioned before, all the pickups are, the pickup locations are set, but not the actual pickups themselves. So when you pick up anything, then it could be something different when it respawns. If you're lucky, it might be health when you need it. Otherwise, in most cases, the health pickups are only guaranteed upon killing an enemy. TurtleDuck is going to add a repair station for full health recharges, and that's certainly going to be helpful for the lower armor cars so that they at least have a fighting chance on higher difficulties. Who's this? Oh, right. This character special is bats that harass you. This is the slime, and as you can see, you are not defenseless if you're slimed. You can you can still turbo and move. You can also shoot during it, so you can fight back still. The AI is still going to act like they can't do that in most cases. Maybe they'll probably rear fire their weapon at most, but they'll be slowed down significantly, and at least give you a chance to follow up with another weapon. But overall, with the cooldown and slimes not really being like freezes, that makes this not much of a freeze, like not much of a slime dominant Twisted Metal game in the same way that freezes are. Alright, come here. Alright, and last but not least, the arrows above the character vehicle are the health. So I didn't notice this before, so I told TurtleDuck I don't know if you didn't include any health bars, so it's hard to see if I'm actually really doing any sort of damage. But then later on I noticed the the arrow indicator, and saw that the colors are changing on it, so I was like, oh, so that's the health. So yeah, I don't know, maybe TurtleDuck might consider having a traditional health bar like in the main Twisted Metal games, so that it's a more obvious indicator compared to having this arrow. Let me get to level 4.
Welcome to Rooftop Rampage.
Oh yes, here we go. This is my favorite level of the bunch.
Fight.
It's sort of like Twisted Metal 1's Rooftop level, if it were done differently. Go out. Darn it. I was trying to get him out of here. Oh. Okay, better not launch myself out. Alright, so you have the central area there. Then you have the side rooftops that you have to jump to linearly. Oh. No, I don't have any specials. Oh, special here. Actually, hang on. Are you bunched up? Come on. Alright, so I did tell TurtleDuck that the cartoon effects, the cartoon bubbles, are definitely a big visual noise, and it could obscure your view when you're trying to engage the enemy, especially if you're plugging away at them. So TurtleDuck is going to include an option to turn off or at least minimize the cartoon bubbles. Or at least adjust the cartoon bubbles so that they're not huge distractions. And throw them off. Nope. Nope. I missed it. Come on. Alright. Going to the next area. Alright, drop dead. Alright. Didn't die yet. Someone else. Yep, so the AI can occasionally be dumb enough to fall to their deaths, but overall, this level, I still like it a lot. Throw him off. Nope. Never mind. Push a patty. It's not, I haven't mentioned it, but there are some characters that TurtleDuck balanced differently or made differently in some ways. So some of them might have unique passive abilities. So the character that you're looking at over here that I'm facing, his name is Von Tesla, and his character story is about infinite energy. So this is reflected in his vehicle being the only one to have access to infinite turbo. So turbo pickups are useless for Von Tesla. Come here, come here. You'll get some pretty heavy screen shake and visual feedback when you get shocked by the pushy patty or on fire from the bouncing Betty or the pyro Peggy. And TurtleDuck is going to adjust that and give an option to reduce the screen shake and vibration on a game. So lots of changes, lots of changes. Alright. Wasn't able to see that. Slow down. So as you can see here, I've been plugging away with the pyro Peggies or power missiles and shooting at this guy for a while, but it still is taking a long while to finish him off. Yes, yes, I threw him off. Sweet. So, there's a weapon wheel. You can hold down the weapon switch button, and then you have to use the right analog stick to adjust to the weapon that you want to switch to. Darkside dash. Okay. So there are 5 bosses in this game, and this one is the UFO boss. So this boss has a gimmick of obviously being airborne the entire time, and he only has one weapon, so he'll harass you with missiles, and the other thing he has is that red light that you see there, which is a magnet. If you're under that light, it'll drag you into the UFO, and if you manage to touch the underbelly of the UFO and get pulled all the way up to have that happen, then you'll die instantly. And given the way the boss behaves, you'll have to pretty much use homing weapons. Thankfully, it's not a very hard boss, and on the higher difficulties, even on Death Wish, it's not really a huge issue. Just make sure you don't go underneath the red light. The magnet pole or gravitational pole is doesn't have a strong magnitude, so it'll just slowly drag you up. So that'll give you plenty of time to take yourself out of it. I am pretty sure that the tornado is not going to work on the boss here. But I still want to make sure that my homing weapons count. Alright. Okay. Okay, I it looks like I didn't really need to. Oh, yep, you can see that. So the magnet wasn't strong enough. Let me see if I can hit him with pyropeggies so that I can do more damage than shooting it with homing missiles. Oh, nice. So, oh, better not go under the light. Nice. So like I said, there's only 5 levels in a campaign run. The 5th level is a boss fight, and the campaign is always randomized, so the only set thing being that the first level is a 1v1, the next 3 are all against a lot of enemies, and then the last level is a boss fight.
I'm here for my prize, Mr. Leaded.
Miss Jenna, please, dear, step into the light. Simply stunning. So what would you like?
I want my looks back. I want my man back. Or maybe a new one, Mr. Levitt. But most of all, I want to be back on the news.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Prepare yourself. Enjoy the spotlight, Miss Thomas.
Where am I? Not this! Gina Thomas is back, baby. But where are the cameras? Shit.
And that's how a bus of hobos saved a small kitten. In other news, former weather girl, Jenna Thomas, found dead of an apparent hit and run. Now, back to you for the weather, Mary.
Blah, 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 blah. What else is on?
I thank you for participating in the Death Metal Derby, Jenna. Welcome back to the news.
Alright, so that was one campaign run with Stormchaser, and then you'll have any character ending or bio that you've unlocked. You can access it in the Hall of Heroes.
Hall of Heroes.
So I played through the game with all the characters. And you complete a campaign of a character, then their podium will have a representative object, and then this door opens and they'll let you view their comic for both their intro and their character ending. So let me just bum rush through.
Stormchaser.
Yep, so that's the complete comic.
Heroes.
So I mentioned before about the difficulty thing, and I haven't asked TurtleDuck for clarification on how they would reflect any unlocks, but if you need any sort of idea as to what playing on the higher difficulties or all difficulties will do, then you have this hall. Alright, so that's the game, and I will definitely do more campaigns and more gameplay of this game in general. I hope that all the updates to this game and the price tag is adjusted so that more people can play this game and give it a try, and hopefully provide more helpful feedback for TurtleDuck to take into consideration. So for now, that's the gameplay and commentary. Hope you enjoy it, and Insanity is out.